Recently, we told you about the new district attorney in Los Angeles, our second biggest city, is a man called George Gascon. George Gascon got elected more than any other factor by George Soros, who was his biggest campaign donor, gave him more than $2 million in a prosecutor's race. Gascon got elected, was backed by Soros because he promised to stop enforcing the law. And he's done it already. He's ended the practice of seeking sentencing enhancements in court. Now that means, in effect, that many violent criminals, cop killers, double murderers, and others will be eligible for parole when they wouldn't have been. Yesterday, after a lot of criticism, Gascon doubled down on this. Watch.
I eliminated sentence enhancements because sentencing enhancement doesn't necessarily create more safety. In fact, they often create more recidivism, and they make us less safe.
They make us less safe. Fox's Bill Melugin has reported that Gascon's office is refusing to try any cases before judges he believes disagree with these policies. John Hatami has been around the system for a long time. He's the Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney, and he joins us tonight. John, thanks so much for coming on. So I just want to address this literally. You just heard the head prosecutor say these enhancements make us less safe and they increase recidivism. Is that true?
No. And thank you for having me, Tucker. That's absolutely false. How can a murderer or a rapist who's released from custody early make anybody safer? Wouldn't people be safer if they were kept in custody? That's just the most absurd statement I've ever heard. And the problem is you have a Soros-backed candidate who now the effects of that is you have a prosecutor who's in charge who has absolutely no experience being a prosecutor. He has no experience being a trial attorney. And the effects on the people of Los Angeles is really going to be damaging. You now have zero bail, and cases such as domestic violence and child abuse, cases that are not considered serious or violent under California law, the bail is going to be presumptive zero bail. Domestic violence and child abuse are repeat offenders. These individuals are going to be arrested and they're going to be released back into society to repeat offend and hurt vulnerable and innocent victims. You have a candidate who is not going to seek a hate crime allegation. How is that a reform? How does that help all the vulnerable victims, vulnerable society? We have a DA backed by George Soros who has now told the DAs they can't go to parole hearings. We recently, day 2, there was a murderer who was up for parole, and he was released on day 2 of this DA. And he was released, and a DA wasn't present for the parole hearing, wasn't present to fight for that victim, and that victim was re-victimized. I don't understand how any of these policies at all provide safety for anyone.
Do you have any doubt that the net effect of this over time will be death, people being killed, people being raped, people being hurt in violent crime?
The reason I came forward and risked my job is because of that. Because I could not sit idly by and watch somebody get released and a child get killed, or a police officer get killed, or a child get raped, or a vulnerable person get raped, or a person of color get discriminated against and get killed. I don't understand how any of these things are reforms. I think when you talk about people in prison, the majority of people don't want a lot of people in prison. However, the normal person, the normal Angelino, does not expect that that means we're going to release murderers, we're going to release rapists, we're going to release child abusers. That's ridiculous. Those are not reforms.
You know, the guy caught with a joint in his car. Okay. Murderers, no. Right.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
It's a really good point. And you are brave to make that point in public. I appreciate your coming on tonight, John. Thank you.
Thank you so much.